After hearing many great things said about the McDSP APB8, we knew we should give it the PDP treatment and try it out for ourselves. So, firstly, what is the APB? On the surface, it looks like an external plugin host, very much like this SSL Duende, but it isn't that at all. McDSP's magical box is a fusion of both the hardware and software worlds and is a plug-in controlled analog processing unit using physical analog circuitry. There are two variants of the APB, or analog processing box, the APB 8 and 16, with 8 and 16 channels of analog audio processing respectively. This, the APB 8, is 8 analog processing units that connect to your Mac via Thunderbolt with built-in A to D and D to A conversion under plug-in control. You place this in your rack and forget about it, and control it using the supplied plug-in bundle. The APB 8 and 16 are physically identical on the outside, with the only discernible difference being the model number printed on the front. There isn't much else to see on the front, and around the back we see dual Thunderbolt sockets, one for the input and one for daisy chaining units. You can link up to 5 APBs together for up to 80 channels of processing. There's also a large power supply socket and a word clock input which needs connecting to your audio interface, and a word clock output for daisy chaining. For full disclosure, James Ivy from the Studio Rats lent us this unit for a while to try it out. We haven't been paid for this review and we're free to give our honest opinions, as always. A big thanks to James for doing that. We'll put a link to his channel in the description down below. The APB is designed to be as easy as possible to use. Indeed, it was an absolute dream to set up, even on our aging 2014 Mac Mini. No voodoo dances round a campfire, passing the donkey over your head 3 times before sacrificing a hamster. You just have to follow the easy installation instructions and it just works. It's worth noting that the APB only works on Mac, it won't work on Windows. Supported platforms include Pro Tools, Logic, Ableton, Digital Performer, Cubase and Avid Venue.
My first thought was that plugins are pretty damn good these days, so this green box had better do something that they can't and have pretty awesome converters in it. And it has. The APB features 32-bit AKM converters, and I couldn't find a reliable way to find out what they were actually doing or sounding like, but did notice a very subtle, slightly sweeter top end with an APB plugin inserted but not really doing anything. It's worth noting that the circuitry in the APB can only offer compression and saturation. There are no facilities for analog EQ, although there are a couple of plugins that feature EQ, but that's taken care of digitally. The plugins are all excellent, very intuitive to use, with a small library of presets to get you started if you need them. Using the APB gives you essentially the same user experience as any other manufacturer's plugin bundle, the only difference being that you have to remember to bounce your mix in real time and not offline, as with any genuine analog processing. So what do you get with it? My least favourite plugin was actually the one I thought I would enjoy the most, and it's at the top of a lot of people's favourite lists as well, and that's the Mu X Mixer. So, stop, hold the press. I had an issue with the APB Mu Mixer, and I wasn't getting on very well with it, and I didn't really like it, and I found what the problem is. The problem is, I'm a twat. A moron, a bellend, a f***wit, whatever you want to call me, and I just haven't been using it properly. But in the box, I found the James Ivy.
Hello.
Who has very kindly supplied the unit for this review. So, James, if you could make my drum sound good, please, because you're an amazing drummer.
Oh, you say the nicest things.
And a great engineer.
Again, saying the nicest things. Keep going. Any more?
And a lovely bloke.
That'll do. Stop now.
You've got a cracking pair of tits. So can you make my drum sound nice, please?
Okay. So for those of you out there who are not used to all things APB, what we've got here is the Mu X Mixer. Now, the Mu X Mixer is very cool because it presents as one contiguous, there's a good word,
That's a good
plugin.
word. I like it.
But we've actually got 4 instances or instantiations, another good word,
Wow.
of the plugin. So we've got a channel for our kicks, a channel for snares, a stereo channel for toms,
Yeah.
and a stereo pair for the
for
overheads. Now they present as just single channels in the strip, but they are 2 monos, 2 stereos, and we have a master, which is lovely. Now you could, I can't because I can't work Logic, you can dive in and operate these as individual plugins on the channel strip, but we're not going to.
Shall I get one of those up just
Go on,
to
do that.
show
Just because we
show
can.
the viewers what it looks like? If I can find one. There we go. There's one.
Yeah. Boom. It looks a bit like that. And that's great. And you can use those as individual channels on your track. And we can use 8 monos or 4 stereos or a combination thereof because we have an APB 8.
Yeah.
There is also an APB 16, but I don't have enough fingers for that.
There we go.
Yeah, something like that.
There is a 16.
So we're going to tweak this drum track. It's pretty straightforward. There's not much else going on it. And without going in and soloing anything, I'm just going to wind some stuff up and just bring out the bits that I would instinctively dive into and go, yeah. So we'll start with the kick drum. We've brought some of the push out of that a little bit more. There's a bit more weight into the kick drum. Bit of compression in there, just to...
Ooh.
Bit too much, perhaps a little bit too much. It's just a bit more. You can hear the head a bit more now.
Yeah.
Same thing for the snare. I just want to bring some of the snap out. Yeah. I'm not going to mess with the bottom end because I like the roundness of the snare. It's obviously, I think it sounds like a... I'm going to go metal snare, but I'm not entirely sure.
I can't remember. What snare was Stacey using?
It's normally a Craviotto or something.
Yeah, something. It was something expensive.
Now what we could do is go the full U2 and really grind up that snare a little bit. Bit of compression on that.
But that's not destroying it, is it?
No.
That's...
If I bypass it,
It sounds a bit...
that's going to be a little bit too much saturation on the snare. It's a bit too sizzly.
But it's nice.
It's not unpleasant, is it?
No.
Toms, I think this is where Mu X really shines. Again, a little bit of compression, not a lot, bit of saturation. Toms.
Blade toms. Here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah.
It's just bringing out the attack of the drum a little bit more. Overheads I wouldn't mess with too much, maybe a tiny bit of top end boost, but not a lot. It just sounds lovely. Okay, there is a bit of volume difference, but
there is, but it's added something very nice. but it's also taken something not very nice away.
And I'm not sure how or why it's doing that.
Yeah.
Hey, that's analog, boys and girls.
That's analog.
But the real trick is this master bus compressor, I think. I'm just going to pull that threshold back a little bit. And I've got the indicators set for gain reduction. And if I click on it, it goes back to being output. Let's just pull the attack on a little bit. In, out.
Yeah.
You're not getting those sloshy overheads that you get with too much compression. You're not getting that kind of thing. It's magic.
Great.
Consider yourself schooled.
You have schooled me in the MuX. Thank you very much, kind sir.
You're welcome.
I don't know what I was doing wrong, but that, yeah, I mean, that's a better drum sound. And you could now quite confidently bounce that out if you wanted to, and that would free up your 8 channels for,
Absolutely.
for other duties again.
I think the thing that we've forgotten how to do in plugins is we've forgotten how to use all of a control.
Yeah.
Because in plugins, we're very scared of going, plus 12 dB.
Yeah.
Because plus 12 dB in plugins doesn't tend to sound very nice.
Yeah, no, it just sounds horrible.
You're using the processing right at the top end of its ranges. Well, actually, analog components often, not always, but often sound better when you drive them hard.
Yeah. And it's 8 channels, so you can have 16 channels. You can daisy chain boxes together, as we've talked about. But it kind of limits, it makes you make decisions. So you could now make a decision, right, you could get the rest of the track up and have all the instruments in and go, right, that's how I want my drums to sound. And now you can bounce that out, and then that's it. That's how your drums sound. Move on. Any further 3 hours of tweaking, you're probably going to get to a point where you go backwards if you're anything like me.
What's the term? The law of diminishing returns.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
See, I think, for me, that, let's say I haven't heard the rest of the track, so I don't know how complex or layered it is. But that, for me, I'd now bounce that out as a stereo pair. I probably wouldn't mess too much around with that stereo pair before it maybe hits a bus compressor or something.
Yeah.
What I'm going to refer to as my expensive channels. So I might put something on my drum bus, something on my vocal bus or my BV bus, my buses basically, and then something on the master. But that I'm fairly happy with to go into the next stage before I maybe put another couple of channels of APB on the bass or whatever, start building it up. Commit.
Yeah.
Get yourself down to what we refer to as stems.
Yeah.
Your drum stem, your bass stem. Get yourself down to 16 channels, because if you had a 16 channel APB, you could have 16 stems on your MuX.
Yeah. Thank you very much. A round of applause for James Ivey.
Hang on.
The APB 8 comes in at around £3,600 in the UK, with the 16-channel version coming in at £6,300. That does sound quite expensive, but especially when you factor in the excellent internal conversion, it's actually a bit of a bargain, coming in at just under £400 a channel in the case of the APB 16. You'd have to pay a lot more than that for dedicated hardware units of this quality, and even then you're limited to what that individual hardware unit can do, and you have to get the audio both out of and back into your DAW. And whilst we miss the tactile nature of a great hardware unit, McDSP have really nailed the workflow of this. Recall is always as perfect as it would be with any other plugin, and it's as easy as just clicking on the session in your DAW with no patching necessary. And it sounds superb. If you're thinking of getting rid of some analog processing and going all in the box, but you're a little worried that you'll still hanker after that analog sound, then this would be a great buy. It sounds fantastic, it's supremely flexible and truly a revolutionary product that, sonically, when pushed, can give you all the character and mojo of a classic hardware unit. And to find out how they compare with their plugin counterparts, check out our 1176 and Pultec EQ videos, where we compare vintage originals with modern hardware and software clones, coming up on your screen right now. Thanks for watching, and you'll see us in the next one.